What do you focus on when you go in the gym? Is it hitting a 1 rep max? Is that your sole focus? If so, then you might be missing out on true muscular gains. And that's what I'm talking about in today's episode. So strap in and get ready for episode 075. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast. Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody, and I will be your host. And first off, I just want to thank you for listening to the podcast. I know there's a million things out there that you could be listening to, and so I'm honored that you've taken some time out of your day to listen to this one. I definitely appreciate you. Now, what I want to dive into may sound crazy at first because, let's be real, we always are striving to hit that new 1 rep max. I know personally that was a huge goal of mine for a long time and occasionally still is on my radar. Not saying that it's totally useless, but it is quite diverting when we're trying to put on muscle because it takes our focus off what our focus needs to be on. What am I talking about? I got my rock mug and the rock's sitting here looking at me like I'm crazy. Well, what I mean is, so often we focus so much of our efforts, of our time, of just being able to lift more on the bar. And we kind of forget about the whole way in which our muscles grow. Our muscles grow when they're put under heavy tension for a duration, and it causes them to strain, and it causes those muscle fibers to tear, and that's what truly brings growth, right? So when we go in the gym and we load up the weight with just a crap ton of weight and we do our rep and we hit that 1 rep max and then we're done, is that really stretching our muscles the way they need to be stretched? I would argue that it's not. Now, I'm not saying that 1 rep maxes have no place, because obviously they do have a place. It's good to have goals. It's good to set, standards that, hey, I want to hit this number by this date. And also it's a good reference point to kind of know, what our 1 rep max is so that we can percentage off of it for other lifts and how much we should be lifting. If we're trying to lift for 60 to 70% of our 1 rep max, we kind of need to know that 1 rep max point. I'm not saying it's totally useless, but what I am saying is we really need to get out of the mindset of training for a 1 rep max because we're missing out. Time under tension is so underrated. And time under tension is basically where you're increasing the amount of time that your muscles are under strain. And when we're just going in and doing a 1 rep max, guess what? That time that they're being strained isn't all that much. Sure, it's a lot of strain for like 10 seconds when we do that 1 rep, but then we're done. And so it's not really growing, it's not really stretching, it's not really tearing the muscle fibers like we should be training them. And so to get out of this mindset, we really have to leave the whole concept of counting reps and trying to hit 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 12 or 5x5s or whatever that rep range is. And I'm not saying like I have this together. I've really been working on personally getting out of this habit of counting reps. And it's hard because that's all I've been conditioned to do for as long as I've been lifting. So it's very hard. And I'm not going to say that I still don't count, but I don't place as much stock in a certain number of reps. And instead, what I've been focusing on is going until I literally can't get another rep out. And maybe that's 10 reps for a certain exercise. Maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20. But I go until I literally cannot go anymore. And what this is doing is increasing my time under tension. And as a result, it's growing my muscles more and more. It's causing them to be under a strain for a longer period of time. And it's ultimately making me stronger. It's increasing my muscular endurance and how long I can go in the gym. Now, you know that I don't believe in super long gym periods, like an hour max. I'm not talking about having marathons in the gym. Like I said earlier, I get it because the mental block is there. The mental side says, no, 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 we have to go for a 1 rep max and we have to count reps and it's all about that. But it's really not. There's often times when I see somebody doing light weights and I look at them and I'm like, man, that person can probably do a lot heavier. But they're straining because they're pushing hard. They're going slow on each individual rep. They're making sure their form is on point and they're going at it over and over and over. And by doing that, they're doing more to progress their muscle growth than if they just heave up a couple reps real quick with sloppy form, super fast, that maybe looks cooler because it's more weight being thrown around, but in reality is not doing as much for those muscle gains. So I want to challenge you. I want to encourage you to change up your thinking. And this doesn't have to be forever. I'm not saying you can't, ever try to get a 1 rep max again. Not at all. But just try for a month. Go in the gym with no expectation for how many sets or how many reps you're going to do and see what happens. On every single exercise, just stop counting reps and just go until you literally can't get another rep. And if you find that you're hitting 30 or 40 or 50 reps in a single set, you might want to increase the weight just a little bit. But the point is, go for that time under tension. Go for longevity in your lifts, in your repetitions. Now, everything in you is going to fight this. It's not going to be easy. You're going to be very tempted to feel like you're not getting a good workout in because it's different than what you're used to. Anytime I start a new program, anytime I start something new, I have this battle within me like, what if I lose muscle mass? What if I go down on my lifts? And it's so ingrained just because I'm so used to working out a certain way that any kind of change throws me all off. I'm like, wait, whoa, what? But our muscles love change. They do. Well, they kind of hate it, but that's a good thing because our muscles have memory. You've heard of muscle memory. And what that means is your muscles get used to a certain routine. They get used to, hey, every Monday I'm working my chest and triceps. Hey, every Monday I'm doing this, and this exercise. Like they get used to that routine. And so when you shake things up, when you make things different, it makes them stretch. It makes them work harder. It's just like anything else in life. Anything that's really good for you and is going to be challenging, it's going to stretch you, it's going to make you grow in ways that maybe aren't comfortable, but in the long run are making you a better person. And it's no different than in the gym with these methods. And you might say, well, how do I determine when I'm done? Well, I'm not saying you can't pick a certain amount of sets again. Maybe you still want to keep a little bit to your schedule. So whether you do 3 sets or 4 sets or 5 sets, you can still establish how many sets you want to do. The thing is, when you go for those repetitions, that's when you want to just kind of wipe away everything you know and just really hone in on every single repetition. As you rep it out, look in the mirror, watch your form. Is your form on point? Could you be going slower? Could you be doing more weight? Are you hitting just so many reps that you probably could add a little weight to it? Like, pay attention to what you're doing. Don't just go in there and lose yourself in the gym. Make that mind-muscle connection. Feel what muscle is being worked out as you do the repetition. Make that connection. If you're doing a bicep curl, look at your bicep. Feel how it feels. Really focus on that. And I'm telling you, if you start to do this, you're going to notice a difference. So don't be afraid to break out of the mold. Don't be afraid to do something different because I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. If you are on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, please check me out at Bones to Bulk. It's the same handle everywhere. I have a great group over at Facebook with some awesome people. on all walks of the journey. Like people who have been lifting a while, trainers, people who are just starting, and there's no BS in there. Everybody is on track. Everybody is encouraging one another. And it's just a really great place to connect with other people who are striving towards something bigger than themselves. So if you are on Facebook, I really highly recommend that you go check that group out because it's awesome. There's great people in there. All right, so with that being said, remember, no matter what anybody's told you, what challenges you're facing, what plateaus you've hit, what curveballs life is throwing at you, you can accomplish your fitness goals. You've got this.